Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Coffee and Create. If you're here this morning, say hello. We got disrupted. I'm going to look on my phone right quick and make sure that we are still where we're supposed to be. Melanie, if you're back again, say hello so I know I'm doing a thing. Let me know that you're here. Well, we might not be. We might not be. I don't think we are. Let me start this over again. I'll be right back. If you're with me, you are with me. I am here. Good morning. Thank you so much. You did that right in the nick of time. Michelle and Marie, thank you so much. Thank you. I will open my Facebook back up so I can see y'all. I have a lot planned. You know I'm an overachiever. I've got the table covered with things to do. The one thing I didn't grab was my glue, but it's on the shelf right behind me. See right there? Right there. There's my glue. I'll grab that in just a minute. Lynette, oh, I'm so glad you're excited to watch about resin. I've noticed recently that there have been a lot of questions about resin, how to use it, how to pour it, how to store it. What if you get sticky molds when they come out? They're still sticky. I want to show you everything I have learned about pouring molds with both clear cast and with your quick cast. What's the difference? Huge difference. Are you impatient like me? Then the clear cast is going to be incredibly difficult to use. It's fabulous, don't get me wrong. The things you can do with clear cast you can't do with anything else. Quick cast, that's for impatient people like me. I love a quick cast simply because with quick cast I can watch it cure right in front of my face. Good morning, Jackie. I'm so glad to see you here. Thanks for being here. So let's get started. I'm going to give you a dual view so that I can talk to you as I show you what we're working with today. I love how it draws us out. So I'm still here, but you can see what I have on the table. Now, if you know anything about me, you know I am obsessive about pouring my molds. I love having them on hand because when I have them on hand, I can do so many different things so quickly. And this little piece right here is no exception. Now, we're using our Iron Orchid Designs brand new holiday molds. This is Baubles, and this was made to emulate the old mercury glass ornaments of the 50s. Wear safety glasses so you don't flick the resin residue in your face. Like that. They were created to emulate the old mercury glass of the 1950s. So are they perfect? Do they have little ripples in them? Do they have some tattered edges? Well, of course they do. Of course they do. Anything that's going to be that old is going to have some issues. None of us are the exception. But when you look at this initially, it appears just absolutely normal. But I noticed that there were some folks who were a little bit confused about what that looks like once it's cast. You see the imperfections right there? That's on purpose. One thing I have learned about Iron Orchid Designs over the years of working with them is that, good morning, Laura. We were talking about you. You weren't here, so it's totally cool. They are very, very definitive about how they produce a design. So if you've ever used the retin transfer, you know that there are parts of that transfer that are pre-distressed. And it might look like it's imperfect, but it is perfectly imperfect. It is exactly the way the transfer was designed. Everything in nature is not a perfect image, and everything in refinishing and decor and DIY crafting is not perfect, and that is what makes it such a wonderful thing to do. If it were perfect, it might as well be mass produced in China and all of us can sit back and sip tea. But because we're coffee drinkers and we create things, imperfection is an art. Let it be. So if you cast something and it is not perfect, let it be. It's okay. So that's the baubles mold set. These are wings and feathers. I love this, and this comes from Classic Elements. Well, I found these little doodahs, these little angels, and they were cutie pie. And I thought, what a great piece to work with. Look at this. Now, I know grandmas are angels in disguise. We really are. We are. But I see more to this than what this looks like. So I see this with, I'm not sure this will fit, but I got everything else so I could set it up to see. I love having my molds ready to go when I'm ready to do a project. That gives me the opportunity to mock it up, to make it look the way I think it's going to look when it's finished, without the commitment of casting and hurriedly placing them. And if you look, I believe what you'll find is that it is going to fit. I'm going to solo view you, and I'm going to bump this up just a little bit so you can see close in. Now look, my wings fit, my Classic Elements fit. I even have room for a couple of flourishes down here at the bottom to make it look lacy if I want. The one thing I want you to notice, if you can, is that this mold, now I'm going to scoot you way far in now, this mold right here is not laying flat. Now let me show you. This one is not laying flat down. You see? If I touch it, how it moves. All right, this is a little bit warped. The beautiful thing about casting resin, you can see it when I hold it sideways, is that I can take my heat gun and I can reheat this section and lay it out. Now, what's gonna happen if this is already cured up and I bend it? It's a little bit flexible. It is. If I bend that while it is cured up, let me show you what'll happen. I think I saved it. I'm gonna sacrifice one just for you because I want you to see how important it is when you are casting your resin that if you have a piece that is not straight, it's not gonna glue down. But if you try to bend it to conform, it will break. There's my sacrifice for today. It will break. It is still fragile. It's very strong. I'm still gonna use this. Y'all know I'm still gonna use this. It is very strong, especially at the wider points, but at your very tender points, at your thin points, it's breakable. So you do want to be careful, and you do want to use a heat gun, or you want to use a hair dryer, or you want to use a bowl of warm water, almost hot water. I'll set that to the side. I will continue to use that. Now, this box right here, this is your Alumilite brand quick cast. It cures in 10 minutes. Depending on your ambient temperature. So you can create these in about 10 minutes. It takes seconds to pour it, stir it, and get the chemical reaction you need for it to go into your molds. And then it takes 10 minutes or less, depending on your temperature, for it to get to this. You want to see? Let me show you. So I have the baubles mold set right here. We'll start with this. And it's really important that you have a vessel to mix into. It's really important, and this part's really important. It's really important that you have coverage for your eyes. I'm pointing at my eyeballs like you can see me, and you can't. So we'll go back. I wear glasses when I'm looking at something like this. So my glasses are not exactly safety glasses, but they work for what I'm doing, so I'm working with them. The object is to make sure you don't splash anything into your eyes. This is a liquid chemical, so you want to be careful with it. I'm going to turn you just a little bit. I have my hand wipes. Here's the second most important thing. Do you see my fingers? Do you see my fingernails? I have chewed off all of my nail polish, and I have resin residue on my fingers. Why? Because I did this last night with no gloves on. Little rubber gloves do a thing for you that you really want. Make sure you have some rubber gloves, especially if you're a girly girl and you have really pretty fingernails. Make sure you wear your rubber gloves when you're pouring your resin, because it's not good for your skin. I'm just hard-headed, and I didn't have my gloves with me, so I poured anyway. Acetone will help take it off. Some good lotion will help take it off. This right here, this is the best cure for not getting resin all over your hands. Got a ring on? Take your ring off. Take your ring off and put it in your pocket, put it away, put it in your jewelry box, because you don't want that resin in your diamonds, because guess what? It's not gonna come off. So take your ring off so that your gloves fit you well and so that you can pour without doing any harm to your hands. So there we go, gloves on. Now, if you are a hands-on learner, then you can come here to Two Girls Treasure on Saturday morning. We will start our very first fall class with pouring resin. This is not going to be a kid-friendly class. This is going to be ages 15 and up. I love the kids coming to class, I really do. This is not something that I want to teach your children how to do. You come learn how to do it, and then you take it home and you teach them. All right, I'm gonna move my wings because I've got my angel wings already picked out. This is a two-part product, part A, part B. Critically important that you pour it equally. If you are experiencing sticky molds when you take them out, it is because you did not pour equal parts, and you're going to have to let it cure longer, or it's not going to work well for you. Now, I have a sticky lid, so I'm going to set that aside, and I will pour my part B into one of my containers. My fancy containers, y'all, are recycled tin cans. I know, they're not pipettes. Pipettes are a small little plastic tube you can use so that you can get into the smaller grooves. I don't have pipettes. I've never used the pipettes. I have found that my resin pours nicely out of my can as long as I don't over mix, and I'll show you what that means, then I'm good to go. So I'm just gonna pour some in my tin can because that's my part B, and I use the resin by the gallon. I do, because I pour so many molds that I need it by the gallon. Now, your kit comes with these nice little medicine cup looking measuring cups. The marks are all the way from 5 cc's or 5 milliliters up to 30, okay? And if you want to mix into the cup, you absolutely can. Make sure you're mixing equal parts. So on your mold, Iron Orchid Designs has provided volumetric measurements. So you want to make sure whatever piece you're pouring, that you know what the volumetric measurement is. This mold right here, this is 9.4 milliliters. So I'm going to mix 10 milliliters into this cup. I'm going to start with my part A, and I only need 5 milliliters of part A because you're going to mix equal parts. So I'm holding my cup. I've gotten pretty good at this, but the best way to measure is to set it down on a flat surface, lean your head down, and make sure your hash mark is right where it should be. Let's kick over to just a solo view while we do this. All right, I'm going to take my part B, and I'm going to pour straight up to my 10 mark. And that's going to give me equal parts of A and B. Now, if you look, it's a little bit cloudy. Watch as I stir. It turns white. Don't pour. Don't stop stirring. Make sure you get it all off the sides. This is sticky. Now, you see it turn clear? It's ready to pour. All right. Let's pour it. I'm going to stir just a second more because I like to make sure it's really well mixed. All right, we're going in right here, 9.4 milliliters. Now, the Iron Orchid Design molds have a micro edge that prevents you from overfilling with clay. If you overfill with resin, you will create pieces that you have to pull off after it's cured up. All right, that has enough in it. There we go, a little bit more down here on this end. I'm gonna drip it in gently. I'm gonna take what I have left over and I'm gonna pour it into the next mold beside it, and I'm gonna leave it alone. Now, what you wanna make sure to do once you've gotten your resin in the cavity is you want to make sure all your edges are covered. You want to make sure all the little narrow parts, if you have them, are covered. And then you want to leave that thing alone. Don't touch it. While that's curing, we're going to swap out our Lazy Susan. I swear to y'all, buy every one you come across because they are the bomb.com and so helpful. So absolutely helpful when you are pouring molds. I'm going to try to keep this in the screen so you can kind of keep an eye on this and watch it cure up. This right here is amazing stuff. This is Alumilite resin dye. If you have never used this, it is super cool. Let me show you why. You can take your white cast and you can make it any color you want. So let's make a frame, and I love these frames in black. I really do. But this is the entire kit, so you can see we have our black, we have brown, we have white. We don't need white on white. We have pink, really bright yellow, blue. This is a beautiful shade of blue. Oh, good morning, LaDawn. We're pouring resin, and definitely catch this on the replay because I know you've talked about being interested in resin in the different ways. This is it. Do y'all see that curing up right there? Right before our eyes. So we've got a lot of different colors. I kind of like the black, I really do, but we sure could do a blue, couldn't we? You know what? To celebrate for the holidays, because I am actually going to make this a holiday frame. Let's use our greens. So we have our translucent green and we have our flow green. This stands for fluorescent. We do not want fluorescent green. Our translucent green is kind of dark. So what I'm gonna do is use both. I will take one of my cans. I will take my color and I will drip excessive amounts of ink in there because I'm extra like that. 1 or 2 drops is really sufficient. I don't measure it real well. I'm really bad about that. This cavity is the one I'm going to use. This takes 84 milliliters. That's a lot. This is a great big frame, but it's the one I want to use. In order to get 84 milliliters, I'm going to have to fill this 30 milliliter cup up a little bit more than I would. Half of 84 is going to be 42. There's a lot of math involved here, so let's do the blonde math. There's 30. Dump it in. Scrape your sides. You want all of that product into your mix, okay? Don't leave it. Use it. Scrape the sides like Nanny would. Now we need another 12, okay? So I'm gonna go right above my 10 mark. I can't show you that because we're on the camera, and trust me though. I'm gonna go right above my 10 mark, right below my 15. I'm still using part A, but I'm gonna do the exact same thing with my part B. All right, that is the end of that bottle. I refill the bottles, y'all, because it's easier to work with the smaller bottles to pour like this than it is the large gallon jugs. Although I can do it, it's just not easy to do. There's my part A. Now I need my part B. And LaDawn, I put my part B in here so that I didn't have to pour out of the gallon. Can you mix the resin colors? Absolutely. So Marie, I just put the 2 different colors of green in here. So watch what happens. Let's get the 30 mils of part B. There's 1. Let's get our 12 mils. Don't piddle when you do this. Here's why. This cures quickly. And if you piddle while you're doing this, then it will cure up before you get to pour it, and it will make a mess and it will ruin your mold. Now, watch Marie as I stir this. I know my hands are in the way, but I've got to stir it quickly. And you'll see once I start pouring that my greens are a little bit lighter than the translucent green, which is really dark. I'll put a dot on my glove after I pour this and I'll show you. Now, this is not going to turn clear, is it? Because we've got the colors in here. So I really can only judge by the feel and the knowledge that I have and how quickly it mixes. Because I have a dark dye in the container, I can't see when it's clear, when it shows that it's cured up. But because it's a chemical reaction, it gets warm. And that's one of the other things I really like about using my recycling cans. I've got a little bit left, so I'm gonna pour the inside of this, because I hate to waste it. I'm gonna take my stick and I'm gonna check my edges and my narrow spots. This Lazy Susan is bobbling, so I'm gonna hold my hand on it so it is flat, and we're gonna leave this alone. I'm gonna spread this one around and I'll show you what we can do with that. We're gonna leave that inside green and we're gonna let it cure up. It is going to cure quickly. our bauble is cured, y'all. Now, I can look at it and tell on the edges that it's not quite ready. If you come take a class, I will show you in person how you can see that. It's not easy to do, but once you pour it enough times, you can kind of gauge what you're looking at. You'll be more familiar with it. And this Saturday, we will do this class live on Saturday, okay? So if you are interested in pouring resin, you come to our class on Saturday morning. I'm gonna hold this, I don't wanna let go because this is curing up. I don't want anything that's not cured yet to roll off the edges because my Lazy Susan is bobbling. I'm gonna leave this center green, and I'll show you why in just a few minutes. Let's let this cure up. And now I need to be really careful because I have colors on my gloves, right? Grab one of your wipes and clean off the ends of your gloves. Here's why. This is white. If I want to keep this white, I don't want this all over it. I don't want to stain my molds. Good morning, Miss Judy. Good morning, Jamie. How are y'all doing? We are working with casting resin this morning. One of my favorite things to do. I could just stand and cast resin all day long if I didn't have so much other stuff to get done. I love to cast resin, and I love to teach how to cast resin because I have learned from watching on the internet, from YouTube videos. I actually learned some super techniques from Lexi Grenzer. And if you're not familiar with Lexi Grenzer, look her up on the internet. She is an amazing watercolor artist. She works with resin. She has taught me some really neat things. So this, I'll put it right here. This is salt wash for my snow. Those are my boughs of holly Christmas trees. And that is fresh cut from the brand new Christmas paint inlay from Iron Orchid Designs. Fresh cut trees, look at that. This is what you can do with your castings. If you have them on hand, you can make just about anything, and you can incorporate so many other products. I'm looking at the camera because I love the way this looks, but I can see it right there. You can incorporate so many other products into your design. And then you can, if you have another design, you can incorporate your molds. This has been hanging in my store all year. We did this last year for a class. Fresh cut trees, there's the holly, there's the mistletoe, there's the trees, and this is farmhand. This came out really nice, fresh cut trees. These are beautiful little projects you can do, and what great gift ideas. Now, I know some people are opposed to getting ready for Christmas because we haven't gotten to Halloween yet, Laura. But you can do Halloween projects, and you can incorporate some of these pieces into your Halloween projects too. Let's demold our bauble. I'm going to swap our Lazy Susans back over. That one's doing just fine. I'll keep it in your visual so you can see it. It is curing up. This one's getting there too. We're going to leave them alone. And let's demold this bauble. Now, demolding is the process by which you take this out. It's really simple. Let me pop you back over here on a single view so you can see this while I do it. You want to break your edges loose, just like you do when you're doing clay. But watch this. Look how beautiful. Look how absolutely beautiful that is. The sun's coming in, so that's giving us a terrible glare. Now, there's a little hair right there from the resin. It's nice and warm. It's nice and warm. So if I were going to use this on a rounded surface, right now is the time that I want to do that. I save my Classico jars. I save all my jars. This is an Atlas Mason jar, and this is a great jar. But I can take this now, and I can conform it because it's still warm. And if this is what I want to do with it, right now is the time, because I can make it conform to the surface that I want to glue it on. If I don't want it to conform, if I'm not ready to do my glass jar, then all I have to do is set it to the side. Because you know what? Once this is done, once this is cured, I can always take my heat gun, warm this up, and it will conform to my surfaces. A word of caution. You see these thick spots right here? Your weakest point will break. Your widest point will not. It's still usable. You can still glue it back together. If it looks like you've got a crack, you can paint over it, you can use DAP, or you can just leave them separated and do something different with it. It will be okay. These will break when they are cured and not heated. Cold resin will break. Be careful with these. Conform them while they're warm, not while they're cold. But you saw that cure right before your eyes. Are you watching this one? This is cured. This is still nice and hot to the touch. I see a little bit around the edges. I want to leave it alone. It's not quite ready to pull out of here, so I'm going to leave that be. I still have resin in this one, and it's cured up. Well, I don't like to waste what I have in my cup, so if I have leftover, I start pouring into another cavity, and then I just mix some more and pour again, because you can pour right over the top of this, and it's not going to hurt a thing. Now, since this is curing, and this should be, it's sticky, so I'm going to leave it alone. If it's sticky, leave it alone. Let's leave this alone for a minute. Who wants to see the clear cast besides me? Because I'm going to tell you something. The clear cast is a test of my patience because I can't touch it for a long time. But it's amazing, y'all. So I'm going to set this over here. We're going to use this Lazy Susan because this Lazy Susan doesn't bobble like the green one does. We're going to use this right here. Let me grab an amazing mold set. You know, I really want those bobbles. I really do. But this one, this, my friends, is Jingle. And this has a Southern Girl's Happiness on it. I know it's a reindeer, but around here that looks like a prize-winning buck. It just does. And I can see this head, this buck's head, on this frame. Christmassy, absolutely Christmassy. Now, to accomplish something other than just clear, I want him to be dynamic today. So in order to accomplish that, I am going to use my Polycolor powders. I bought the entire kit, and it is bright green and gold metallic and blue glow. Yes, I have glow-in-the-dark metallic powders, green glow. These are amazing. But what I'm looking for in my catalog of resin powders is my dark bronze. because I want my book to be so pretty for the holidays. So I have bronze metallic and I have dark bronze. I think if I mix just a little bit of both, I will get an amazing finish on this. Y'all want to see that? Let's do it. All right, I'm gonna put that down and I'm going to look at my measurement. He is 5.6 milliliters. Well, I want to pour more than one since this is going to take so long to cure. So I need 5.6 and 24 and 24. So that's 48, 53. That's 53 and a half. So let's say 54 milliliters. That's a lot. My little cups are 30 milliliters each. So that means I can fill them up. I can fill each cup up to the top, mix it up in one of my containers, and I will have exactly what I need. There's my part B, and here's my part A. I don't think I have enough in either one of those. So I'll set the box to the side. How we doing on time? We're good. Are you having fun? Do you really enjoy this? I hope you enjoy this as much as I do, because this is just super cool to work with. I'm gonna set my bottles to the back in the box off to the side because I am not gonna be able to use those small bottles. I'm gonna have to pour out of my large containers. And this is, always make sure, this is your clear cast part B. So I'm gonna fill my container up with my part B. This is thick. This is syrupy. So when you get ready to put this in your mixing container, make sure you scrape the sides. When you mix it, make sure you scrape the sides. This is my part A. Make sure it says clear cast. You don't want to accidentally mix up your clear cast with your quick cast. It will not work. It will make a mess. You will be very frustrated. Look how thick that is. And you will have to wait an extended period of time for it to try to cure so you can get it out of the molds. All right, there you go. I'm gonna wipe this clean so it does not stick. You've heard me say about not putting your Rethunk Junk paints away with the lid wet because they'll stick. Y'all, this'll stick. This is resin, and this is an epoxy. This is a 2-part, and it will be a mess in your life if you don't make sure to clean that lid off. My gloves are nice and sticky now. You hear them? This is why we wear gloves. That's what my fingers were like last night. It's like glue. All right, that's our part B for our clear cast. We have not used this one today, so I'll move my little, I've used it before. You can see the white cast down in there. It's okay. It's dry. Shake out any loose pieces because I like to peel my resin. Don't judge me. All right, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna move Jingle out of the way for just a quick sec. I wanna show you how to use these because these are cool. Let's take out first our dark bronze. I already have this package opened. And we'll pop that top open just like that. I'm gonna take my dry mixing stick and I'm just gonna get a little bit. Can you see that? That's just a little bit. And I'm gonna tink it down in that cup. All right, now, because I want it dimensional and one color is just not enough for me. Jackie, thank you. I love this too. And if you want to come play with resins and resin dyes and resin powders with me, then let's get together Saturday morning and let's do it. A little bit of another color. I'm gonna tink it down in there. If we're gonna make it pretty, let's make it sparkle. Be careful with these packs. Do not blow this up in your face. It is a powder. It is a resin powder, and it has metallics in it. So there's 3 really good reasons to wear your safety glasses and don't poof it up into your face. All right, ready for this? This takes longer. It takes longer to mix. It takes longer to cure. This is one of those things that is so worth the wait. Scrape your sides when you are pouring it out. Scrape your bottom. Don't leave any of that in the container that you can help, because that whole container is your 30 mils and you need every bit of that. All right. That was one part. This is the other. Let's scrape the sides of this one as well. And there we go. Commence to stirring. Now I've got to stir, but I'll try to keep my hands where you can see as I'm stirring. You see that metallic mixing up in there? That's a beautiful, rich bronze finish. I'm gonna stir real well. This is thick, so you make sure you stir and you stir and you scrape. And it has metallics in it. We have 2 different colors. So don't let up the stirring. Your quick cast, this right here, you want to stir this and get done and get it poured. Your open time for this is only about 2 or 3 minutes, and then it's going to clump up in your container. Your open time for this is a long time. This will be cured up and ready to demold by the time I go home tonight at 6 o'clock. For real. This is going to take a long time to cure. So when you're using your clear cast, just simply be prepared. Be prepared for it to take a while. This is really thick. It's like Mrs. Butterworth's. It's thick and rich. All right, but don't eat it. Don't eat. It's not good on pancakes. These small detailed spots, they are a booger bear sometimes. So what do you do with them? You use your stick. Pour into your deeper crevices in your mold, and then take your stick to pull your resin into the cavity where you need it. You need all of his points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's a 10 point. I have one of those living at my house. You know what they say about a 10-point buck? He didn't live that long by being stupid. Now, did he? That's funny. But pour into the deepest crevices first. Since this is the one I want more than anything, this is the one I'm going to pour first. I don't want to pour one of the larger ones and not have enough. I should have mixed enough for both of these reindeer and this one. But I don't want to take the chance on not being correct. You're going to lose a little bit of material to the can no matter what. No, Marie, the metallics won't show in the quick cast, because your quick cast is always going to cure white, okay? And if you use your metallics in here, you'll just lose them. The thing to do is pour it white or pour it a dyed color, paint it And then maybe put your decoupage medium or some watered down glue on it and sprinkle it with your regular glitter so that you get the metallic finish. Let me show you. I'll show you after I pour. Wait a minute, I think I can get my hands on it. All right, these are your white wings. These are your metallic wings. This is with your clear cast. This is with your quick cast. If you put these metallics into your your quick cast, you will lose all of that sparkle and shine. Isn't that pretty? Don't use your metallics for anything but your clear. Use your dyes for your white, your quick cast. And then if you want a sparkle to it, then use your glitters. All right, this is cured up. Now, where I've been stirring it, can you see that there's bubbles in there? It almost looks like a witch's brew, doesn't it? It's important that you make note that that exists. I'll show you why. So let's pour. I hope you can see this. This pours like lava coming out of a volcano. It's very thick, it is very rich, and I'm pouring very slowly because I don't want to over pour the cavity. It's not going to hurt a thing if I do, and I can show you, if I've got time, I'll show you what happens if you over pour the cavity. Now, I hate over pouring with my clear, especially when I have metallics in it, because then I feel like I've wasted. Draw that into those narrow crevices. We want him to have beautiful points. So take your stick. You really don't have time to do this with the quick cast. The beautiful thing about the clear is the open time you have to play. So just draw that in. And if you want to come sit and play with me this weekend, our workshop on Saturday morning will be on pouring resin. So look for that on the events tab on our Facebook page, and look for that class, that workshop, on the workshop tabs on our website. I'll make sure to send you the link. There we go. Are you on our email list? You will want to be on our email list so you can get all the information on workshops, special offers, newsletters with projects. You will want all those things. Now I'm going to fill the large cavity, then I'm going to pull this down into the smaller cavities. His legs and his hooves are not so small as his points are. Pull this down. Gentle so as not to go over the edge of the micro rim. There we go. Pull this down in. There we go. Also, let me mention, if you don't want to learn how to pour resin, nobody's judging you. But if you want resin castings without all the mess, because this can get messy, let me know. I do cast so many resin molds that I have them available for sale. I do have 2 years ago, I do have the boughs of holly molds, and I do cast the Christmas trees. and the poinsettias. And I do sell them, and you are welcome to purchase the resin castings, not the mold. I am not selling the mold because I use the mold, but because I have the mold and I love to pour, I would be happy to pour for you if you want some of those castings. They're on the website under Creative Accessories, or you can just do a search for resin castings. That's how they'll be titled. Now, if you're looking at the buck head, you see a little bit of white down the center. You see that? Those are the bubbles. That's the chemical reaction. Something that can happen when you're pouring the clear cast is called off-gassing. And it is just an expression of the chemicals releasing gas. The problem for you with that is that it creates little bubbly pops. And when you take your finished casting out of the mold, those bubbly pops could actually damage your finished look. Now, it's not critical, but the way to compensate for that and help off gas your resin is to heat it gently while it's curing. After I pour this, we're going to run out of time for the day, but after I pour this, I'm going to get my heat gun out and I'm going to gently heat this. Do I have any time? It's 9:58. I could take a second to do that. Do y'all have another minute? You painted a quick cast reindeer with, oh, I'll bet that's beautiful. Oh, you know what, Miss Judy? I think I saw that. I think I saw that. I've been pouring so many molds, I haven't really had time to paint any of these. All right, and I still have some left over. So I'm going to scooch this over. I'm going to scooch this down. I don't think I have enough to go in here, so I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to move my wing, and I'm going to fill in a bauble. Let's have a bronzed bauble. I always like to have a couple of extra molds handy when I'm pouring. That way, when I have extra, as I will, I can pour into another mold and I will not have wasted. Now, I did not over pour these. I under poured, which is not a bad thing, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna scrape this out. Oh, you know what? Let's make a bronze jingle bell, because we have enough. Now I'm making a mess. There we go. Let's make a bronze jingle bell. Stir that into the cavity. I wish you could see the bubbles popping. I've got a little bit on the bottom. I'm going to scrape that down. And I'm going to let it drizzle in. And I'll drizzle into here a little bit more. There are some bubbles at the very top of his antlers. So I'm going to take, there we go. You see the white lines in the center right here? That is not curing. That's not what that is. That is off-gassing. Let me grab my heat gun. And I will show you right quick how we're going to overcome this. I'm going to move this back out of the way. I'll move this over because I will need to plug this in. And I think I'm on my own this morning. I am. All right, low heat, and you don't want it down too close. I'm not gonna bring my heat gun down like this, but I want to heat that resin in the mold gently to help degas it, off-gassing. I don't really have or experience this with the quick cast because it's not the same chemical reaction. The clear cast, you will get this chemical reaction, and if you don't off-gas, you risk, see the bubbles right there? See them right there? If you don't off-gas this, you risk having pops, little broken bubbles. Thanks so much, LaDawn. I will put the link after I get off here and open the doors so that you can come play with me, and we will experiment with all the casting resins and metallics and dyes for 2 hours on Saturday, and we will just have ourselves a really good time. Off gas that clear cast. You can see the bubbles popping as you're doing it, but you want a pretty good distance between your casting resin and your heat gun. The reason is you don't want to blow that resin all over the place, and it will. If you get your, it's like a hairdryer. If you put it too close, it's just going to blow it out of the mold, and you don't want that. Don't hold it in one place too long because you'll burn it. You won't see it, but you'll smell it, and at that point it will be too late. So gently heat your resin. These will be ready for me to demold late this afternoon, and once they're done, I will be happy to share some photographs with you. You see those bubbles breaking up now? There's a little bit there, but not nearly as much as there was when we started. Let me show you again. I'll move this out of the way. Let's bring the bobble back on screen for her shot. You see all those bubbles? Gently heat your casting resin. This is your clear cast only. Gently heat your casting resin. And I see a spot I need to fix, so since it's clear cast, I have that time to pull it over to the edge. Make sure I've got a really good cast. See those bubbles pop? That's the gas. And that is exactly what you want to see. You want to see that casting resin off gas so that you don't have broken bubble spots on your finished casting. I'll do some more of this. I do need to get the doors to the store open, but I am so appreciative of having this time with you this morning. Thank you. I've got to open the doors of Two Girls Treasure and let the hordes of people that are standing outside waiting to get in come in. They want to shop. And if you're one of them, I thank you so very much for being here this morning. I will drop the link for Saturday's workshop right here on this comment. Look for the information on the events tab on our Facebook. Look for the workshops collection on our website. We are shoring up all of our class schedules now through the end of the year. We will even have some evening classes for you because I know that's really convenient sometimes. So we'll get it all worked out. We will have a blast through this holiday season together, either right here on Coffee and Create or right here in the studio at Two Girls Treasure. I'm Diane, and I thank you so much for joining me this morning to do one of my favorite things, pouring resin. Miss Marie, thank you for being here. I hope to see you again real soon. Meanwhile, go grab a cup of coffee and create something amazing today. Y'all have a wonderful week. Thanks for being here.